Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm going to be talking about Elderflower Cordial today and giving you a recipe to make it. First of all, I thought I would run through some of the folklore and the beliefs surrounding elder. I've been out this morning and collected a big bowl ready to make our elderflower cordial. So the name elder comes from the Anglo-Saxon eld, which translates to fire. The elderflower tree, or the elder tree, has always been seen as a protective tree. It was believed that if you sheltered under an elder tree during a storm, then you'd be protected. I don't know if this is a belief that has been around for many years, but certainly in the last 2000 or so years, because Christ's cross was apparently made from elderwood, so this is where some of the protective beliefs surrounding elder have come from. But I suspect that some of these beliefs are actually much older than the story of Christ. So it's also known as a few other names. It's known as Devil's Eye, the Elder Mother, and it's quite an uplifting plant. When you smell it, and it's got a very strong smell, it's soothing and relaxing, but it's also uplifting. It's got a lovely sort of citrusy floral, I don't know if citrusy is the right word, but yeah, it's got these beautiful cream flowers. One way to identify it is the flat sort of, I don't know if you say canopy, but the flatness of the flower helps you identify, and the smell as well. It's believed that if you grow elder outside your front door or any entrance door, then it will keep evil spirits away. So again, another protective belief. And it's also believed as well that if you sit under an elder tree on Midsummer's Eve, then you'll be able to see the fairies. However, don't fall asleep, because if you fall asleep, the fairies will carry you away. As well as uplifting and relaxing, it has a diaphoretic action, which means it can help to reduce fevers. You can use it to stop itching. If you put an infusion in your bath, that is really good for reducing itches. I know I'm fiddling about with this, I just think it's absolutely stunning. You need about 15 to 20 heads for this recipe, or I've just filled up a bowl. The more you put in, the stronger your elderflower cordial is going to be. I like to pack mine with flavour, so I do sort of pick as many as I can. Obviously make sure that you are not taking everything on a tree or on an elderflower bush. Make sure you are leaving plenty for the birds and the bees and the insects. It's really important. And I thanked the tree as well. I asked permission first, and then I thanked the tree for its gift and its bounty. So in preparation to make our cordial, you need to shake off any insects. I have seen some recipes that say rinse these in cold water, the heads, leave them in cold water, but the trouble is, the longer you leave them in water soaking, then obviously the more you're going to lose your flavour. So if you can, give them a very thorough shake off, check for any little insects, any little visitors that are hanging on. I tend to do this outside so that the insects can go somewhere else. Take off as much of this stalk as you can, ideally. You don't really want the stalks. You've got the main stalk feeding down to the different flower heads. What I would do is just pinch that off there. There is still some stalk on it, but that's absolutely fine. But just get rid of these main sort of thick bits here. You also need 2.5 kilograms of sugar. This can be caster sugar, granulated sugar, it doesn't matter. And you also need 1.5 litres of water. You need some lemons. The recipe that I'm using says 2, but I always like to put extra in because I'm not going to use citric acid. If you look at elderflower recipes online, you will find that most of them have citric acid, and even using citric acid, you're only going to be able to store your elderflower in the fridge for up to about 6 weeks. I don't ever use citric acid. We get through elderflower cordial like it's going out of fashion, so I'm going to just use natural citric acid from lemons, and I'm going to I usually put in like 4 to 6 lemons, and we'll get through that really quickly, so I don't ever worry about the citric acid. So I'm going to prepare these, and then we will make our cordial. So I've taken the stalks off, and as you can see, it's actually reduced the heads down quite a bit. I collected these quite close to home, and I like to use a white bowl because you can see what you're dealing with. So when I took all these heads out to shake them off and give them a rinse, there were lots of tiny, tiny, tiny little bugs. So I took these outside, and holding the big stalks, of course, these have obviously been reduced down, I bashed them together, and all the little insects, well, not all of them, but most of them have fallen out. You do lose a couple of flowers here and there, but it's a bit of a weird way of thinking, but I always think that the weaker flowers drop off, and I don't want them in my mixture anyway. I know that's quite backward, but yeah, so they've had a really good shake, they've had a slight rinse, not very much, and I've reduced them down, taken the main stalks off, so they're ready now to be added to our syrup once we've created that. I've got my biggest pan, and we've got 2 litres of water in there. And I'm going to add my sugar, which I'm not going to do with the scales. Most things in the kitchen that I do by guesswork. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. If I'm making a cake or something like that, then I always measure out. But for something like cordial, you don't need to. So there's 1 kilogram in there. You can use any sugar you want. I've seen different recipes saying to use different types of sugar. It doesn't matter if it's caster or granulated. I think that's about 400 grams. And we're just going to heat that, and just until the sugar has dissolved. We don't want it to boil. And then once the sugar has dissolved, then we can bring it to the boil and then turn the heat off. In the meantime, I'm going to slice a couple of lemons, and I'm going to juice 2 lemons as well. You need to keep stirring this because you don't want it to stick to the bottom and burn. And that's 2 lemons juiced. Now, so that you can use any sugar, but ideally you need to use a white sugar, because if you use a light brown or a brown sugar, then you're not going to get that beautiful sort of creamy, yellowy, light colour. You're going to get a brown colour for your cordial. It probably wouldn't matter all that much, although light brown and brown sugar do have a slightly different taste. But it's more just the aesthetics of your cordial once it's finished. So I've brought that to the boil, I've taken it off of the heat, and now I'm just going to add in the lemon slices and the elderflower heads and the lemon juice. Obviously that might give it a little lemony taste as well, but that doesn't matter, that just adds to the flavour. And I'm just going to place all my elderflower heads in, and then tomorrow we can strain that out. So lots of things you can do with elderflowers. You can make jam with them, you can make elderflower fritters. I've never tried those personally, but I like to enjoy my elderflowers as cordial, and I like to enjoy my cordial with sparkling water. So yeah, so we'll see how this looks tomorrow. I'm going to leave this to steep and infuse for 24 hours. As you can see, it's still steaming. That's because I brought it up to the boiling point. And yeah, it's just going to be left now to become even more beautiful. So I'll probably have to get my husband to help me strain this, because it is a really, really big pan and it's quite messy. And then I'll be able to put it into some sterilised bottles. So it's the following day and our elderflower and lemon mixture has been infusing for the last 24 hours. So it's time to strain the mixture now, and I do this using a muslin cloth. I usually start off using a ladle and just picking out the slices of lemon and the elderflower heads, and then I strain the rest. So all we need to do is do that, and then we can decant it into some sterilised bottles. What I've actually done is I've put the muslin cloth over the jug and put some elastic bands around it. It's not the easiest way to do this, but then that said, it's not easy lifting it up and pouring it either. You might be able to come up with some contraption for straining these, but this is the way that I am going to do it today. I'm just going to gently ladle the cordial onto the top of the jug, and it should seep through and just leave the flowers on top. In the kitchen sink at the moment, I've actually got some bottles that are sterilising, and that's what we'll be pouring our mixture into. I'm going to start ladling some of this mixture on top of my jug. I think we are probably going to spill some of this. Hopefully this will just seep through fairly easily. So this is what the cordial looks like strained. It's got no flies in it, no bits of flour, no bits of lemon, just pure syrup. And now all we need to do is pour the elderflower cordial into the bottle, and we're all done. So I've finished bottling up the elderflower cordial. We got 2 big bottles, a medium-sized bottle, and a little bit extra. So I really recommend that you give this recipe a try. It's so simple, as you've seen, and you can find elderflower growing just about anywhere, and you'll see it growing around farms, down alleyways, on industrial estates and people's gardens, maybe in your own garden, and it really is very easy to use, so I would give it a go. Not all my videos are going to be about cooking. This is a witchcraft channel. This is about my witchy life. So there's going to be lots more videos coming up on all sorts of subjects. So I'd really like it if you subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. Obviously I've just started out and my videos are going to be getting better and better hopefully, but I'd love you to join me here on the cemetery.